Okay, let's dive right into this. Today, we're unpacking something that has, well, it's completely evolved from a futuristic buzzword into a ground-level, immediate reality. We're talking about AI in software development, and specifically, we're going to explore this through the lens of Indian engineering, pulling from some genuinely fascinating insights by Rituraj Goswami, the founder of InBharat.ai. So, if you're a developer, an engineering leader, or a startup founder, this explainer is going to map out exactly what is happening on engineering floors right now. And trust me, you're going to want to pay attention to this.
You know, it's incredibly easy to be cynical about new technology, right? Goswami himself openly admits, I didn't believe AI would change how I build software. I thought it was hype. And honestly, that is just such a relatable level of skepticism. I mean, so many of us assumed this was just another wave of Silicon Valley excitement that would completely fizzle out long before it ever hit the enterprise engineering floors in Bangalore or Hyderabad. It's totally natural to roll your eyes at all that marketing noise. But then, something happened that completely flipped his mindset.
4 hours versus 2 days. That was the inciting incident. Goswami actually watched a junior developer on his team use an AI coding assistant to build an entire feature in just 4 hours, a task that, mind you, was officially estimated to take 2 full days. And we aren't talking about writing some simple throwaway toy code here either. This was production-ready code. It had tests, and more importantly, it worked flawlessly out of the gate. That is the exact moment his skepticism died. Because when you see a timeline compressed like that in the real world, you just can't unsee it.
So how does a massive productivity leap like that actually happen? Well, here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, beyond the AI hype. Second, deconstructing the workflow. Third, the 3 layers. Fourth, India's economic advantage. And finally, the practical playbook.
All right, kicking things off with part 1, deconstructing the workflow.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how it cuts through the absurdly noisy marketing surrounding AI and shows us the actual technical reality. When we look at tools like GitHub Copilot, Amazon Code Whisperer, or StarCoder, we see AI seamlessly slotting into absolutely every single phase of the software development lifecycle. During the planning phase, it isn't just taking notes, it's analyzing your requirements, suggesting architecture patterns, and even estimating effort based on historical data. During coding, it's churning out all that tedious boilerplate, suggesting completions, and, get this, catching bugs as you actually type them. Move over to testing, and AI is writing the test cases, identifying edge cases human testers often miss, and prioritizing test runs. And finally, in deployment, it's actively monitoring systems and even auto-remediating common issues. I mean, it's literally an end-to-end transformation.
Because AI is assisting at every single one of those stages, the compound effect is just staggering. Teams that integrate these tools are reporting task completion times that are 30 to 55% faster. So the absolute crucial takeaway here is this. We are not talking about a marginal incremental gain of 1 or 2%. We are looking at a fundamental seismic shift in baseline productivity. Engineers aren't getting lazier. They're simply stopping the waste of time on the parts of coding that just don't require human creativity.
Moving right along to Section 2, the 3 layers of transformation.
To really grasp how deep this transformation goes, we can break it down into 3 distinct operational layers. Layer 1 is definitely the most visible: code generation and assistance. You write a comment describing what you want, and boom, the AI suggests the implementation. You paste a messy error message, and the AI explains exactly what went wrong and how to fix it. And Indian engineering teams are particularly well positioned to benefit here. Why? Well, because they manage massive Java applications, incredibly complex Python data pipelines, and sprawling React frontends. The sheer volume of repetitive coding tasks in these massive enterprise codebases is enormous. So at this layer, AI doesn't just save time, it literally saves your sanity.
Let's actually ground that first layer in reality for a second. There's a team in Pune building a payment processing platform right now. They originally estimated it would take them 12 weeks to build a transaction reconciliation module. But by using AI-assisted coding, they shipped the whole thing in exactly 7 weeks. And here is the kicker. It had the exact same quality and the exact same test coverage. They simply spent vastly less time writing the predictable connector code and the boring boilerplate that normally bogs the project down.
Okay, layer 2 is quality and security. Now, AI models have been trained on millions of code repositories. They know exactly what good code looks like, and they definitely know what vulnerable code looks like.
So AI essentially acts as a second pair of eyes that never gets tired and never gets distracted. It spots SQL injections, missing null checks, and race conditions almost instantly. And look, for Indian startups handling highly sensitive financial data and UPI transactions for literally lakhs of users, catching these vulnerabilities early isn't just a nice-to-have inconvenience solver, it is an absolute existential necessity.
And that brings us to Layer 3, operational intelligence, which is often called AIOps. The shift here is profound. We're talking about moving from constant, stressful firefighting to proactive prevention. When you're running services at an Indian scale, think millions of concurrent users jumping online during a massive IPL match or a huge Diwali e-commerce sale, AI can analyze logs and metrics to predict problems before they happen. If your API shows a tiny bit of increased latency, the AI can correlate that with a memory leak in a specific microservice and alert your team long before the end users even notice a single glitch.
Which brings us to part 3, India's unique economic advantage.
And this brilliantly illustrates the macroeconomics at play here, because the math is simply undeniable. Equipping a developer with a premium AI coding tool costs roughly 2,000 rupees per month. Now, a mid-level developer in India costs anywhere from 80,000 to 150,000 rupees a month. If that 2,000 rupee AI tool makes them just 30% more productive, you are instantly getting up to 45,000 rupees worth of additional output value. When you multiply that staggering ROI across a base of 2.4 million developers, the aggregate economic gain for the Indian tech sector is just monumental.
But I really have to pause here because this is without a doubt the single most crucial caveat in this entire explainer. Teams that treat AI as a magic wand are absolutely going to get burned. Yes, the AI generates code, but that code absolutely needs human review and validation. As this quote perfectly summarizes, AI amplifies competence. It doesn't replace it. The developers who are thriving right now are the ones who understand the core fundamentals of computer science well enough to accurately evaluate and guide what the AI is actually producing.
Okay, let's look at section 4, the practical playbook.
Let's move to and see how this builds into a highly actionable strategy. We know the tech works, and we know the economics make sense. But if you're an engineering leader navigating the intense pressure of lean teams, tight budgets, and massive user bases, what exactly should you do tomorrow morning? It comes down to a 4-step playbook. Step 1. Start with assisted coding. Give your team a 2-week trial of a tool like Copilot and track their pull request velocity, not their lines of code, their velocity. Step 2. Automate code review. Use AI to catch the obvious formatting issues and basic bugs, which frees up your senior engineers to focus strictly on architecture and logic. Step 3. Generate tests. Let AI augment your already excellent QA teams by generating test cases and finding untested paths. And finally, Step 4. Turn on AI-assisted monitoring. If you're on AWS or Azure, these tools are literally already sitting there just waiting to be activated.
Implementing that playbook gives you the ultimate leverage, especially when it comes to the extreme hiring pressures most startups face right now. Founders are constantly saying they just can't hire fast enough. Well, AI doesn't replace the need to hire, but it completely rewrites the onboarding math. Think about it. When you equip a junior developer with these AI tools, they stop being a drain on your senior resources and they start contributing meaningfully in week 1 instead of month 1. That is a real game changer.
Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. The landscape has officially shifted. The choice you face today is no longer whether or not to adopt AI in your development workflow. Honestly, that debate is over. The only choice left is whether you will adopt it right now or wait until your competitors have already done it and left you behind. So take a hard look at your engineering floors and ask yourself, are you ready? Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this really helped clarify the ground reality of AI in software development, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.